Okay, this is your STC machine shop instructor here. I'm going to talk about CAD CAM programming and manual programming. It's in the end, you're going to produce good code to machine something. So if we're looking at this simple rectangular part, if we're trying to machine it, so we're machining the outside and the holes, you need to your process. You got to think about this. If you want to be like production, make 100 of these. Unless you buy the material exactly that size, you're going to have to machine the rectangle, which means you need to hold it. And you're going to need thicker than this 375 material over here. So let's say let's go with half-inch material because that's pretty much a standard size. And 3 inches long we can control by cutting it on a bandsaw, and 2-inch wide may not be, if you buy 2-inch bar stock, it may not be able to machine on both sides, and especially if you're trying to hold this tolerance, which right here is 3 place dimensions. So let's use, I think we can get 2 1/4, which would be 2.25. So that'll be our plan on stock. Now, how are we going to machine this thing? We need to face mill the top or end mill the top. I think face milling or fly cutting would be the best method to do the top. The engraving we're going to worry about later. We're going to machine this rectangle here. Probably use a 1/2 inch or a 3/8 end mill. And then we have to put these holes in, and they haven't given us the specs on the holes yet, so we're just going to spot drill them for now until they get the specs and we can add in the drill later on. So if we're looking at it from a CAD CAM point of view, and go back to print here, where is our 0? I see it says 2 inches down here, so 0 in the Y direction is here and X direction. So this is where you want to base all your coordinates on as far as programming by hand or by CAD CAM. So if I'm in the master cam here, I'm going to use this crosshair to be our 0 location. So you can either draw this up or you can import if you already have a digital file, say it was something more complicated, but you want to make sure you want to line it up to where you want your 0 to be. Now, let's do it as a simulation to understand what we're trying to do. I've actually programmed 3 operations here, and I'm just going to tilt this to isometric view. And I haven't run this at all, so let's see. Let's do this is the quick simulation in Mastercam called Backplot. And this is the speed selector. So if I hit the press play, comes down, cuts the top. So we're making it a machine top surface. So we don't really need to machine much. And we're going to come around and cut a simple rectangle. And then we're going to spot drill the holes. So you can see the simulation there. So what are we trying to do here? If you've studied any of your codes, let's turn on those facing. Okay, so if I turn on just, let's see, I'm going to turn all them off and just do facing only. Okay, so here is, you need to have the cutter so it does not land on top of this. You're going to go in this direction until it's clear and need to go home. So you got to do a tool change, reposition, call up your work coordinate, get this thing spinning, bring it down, rapidly stop somewhere above where you're going to start your cutting moves, and then going to feed down, which would be a G1 move at a controlled feed rate, and then we're going to go this way, which is just a simple G1 move. So if I'm looking at it from the top, where we put this, now I notice where it put it, and it's not quite in the middle. Personally, I would just put it right in the middle of this. So if I was in my print, if this is 2 inches, if I went -1 inch and over here so it's clear, that's what I would. It's a pretty simple, basic move. All right, let's go to the contouring. I'll turn that one on. Okay, let's watch that one. All right, I'm going to shut off the tool holder so we can see just the tool move. All right, comes over, around the corner. And done. So I'm going to replay this like one step at a time, step forward. All right, so you need to have your end mill go. Let me actually turn on the stock display right there. This is the boundary of the stock. We need to have enough to machine around this all. So this is, it actually represents 2.5, even though it's not quite in the middle, but it'll still machine. And this would be where you're going to cut it off in the saw. And you're going to, in this case, you're going to set your X0, Y0 to the part origin, not the material. So when you edge find or probe this here, you're going to have to shift it an additional amount in order to ensure you're going to cut around all sides. If you do not, you're only going to get this side machine and this side machine. This will still look like the bandsaw cut, and this will look like the raw material. So, especially if you're manually doing G-code, you really want to program to the part. It's the simplest and fastest way. We hit the fit command. I'm going to do an unzoom here. All right. So let's go back to the play again. Play one step at a time. So I've got to pick a position up here that's clear of the material. It's not really exactly important where to put it, but personally, I like to start up in the upper left and go this way and go in that direction. But this will work just fine. Let's say that this is the Y0. So if it was up here and say it's Y positive 1, that's clear. And halfway, that would be X 1.5, because this would be 3 inches. All right, so it's going to position, spinning the RPM that I figured out. It should spin in the clockwise direction. I'm going to engage the tool height offset, bring that down. Then we're going to feed down to somewhere to the bottom of where this is, and maybe a little bit extra, like 10 thousandths. And then we're going to navigate around this. So, but if we're using the print dimensions, that'll mean the center of the tool will be right there, and that would make this part way too small. So we're going to use the print coordinates, and we're going to use cutter compensation. We're going to put that diameter or radius in the geometry information in the tool offset page. So if we go down, 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 and then this move here will be a G41, turn on the compensation using offset number 2, which this will be tool 2. And we're going to go to Y0, but whatever is in the compensation, the wear column, is going to offset. It's not going to go all the way because it's going to compensate. And it's going to stay to the left. Now, it knows it's staying to the left because it's looking ahead. So the next move would be this one. We're going to go to this coordinate here, which would be X3, and then add in half the diameter. All right, and then we go to here. This would be Y-2, add half the diameter. Over here, this would be the X0, and this would be half the diameter of that. And then up this way, and then back to where we started right here. Then the exit move is when you shut off the cutter comp, which is a G40. G41 to turn it on. We're always staying to the left. We're always climb milling. Rarely would we use G42. and the exit move will be back to where we started, would be a good place, and we'll shut it off with G40 right there, and then we're down low, right, and then we can go up and then all the way home, right. All right, next one would be the drilling cycle. Drilling cycle should be pretty easy stuff. Okay. So the first one should be pick one of the holes and get the spindle going, and then rapidly move over one of the holes and bring down the tool, and then pick a drilling cycle. One of those something in the 80s, like G81 or G82 would work. So let's turn on this simulator again. Okay, this one's going to be spot drill. And then you got to figure out how far down you want to go. In this case, the 90-degree spot drill, you could get it so it's just barely the size of this 1/4-inch hole. So 90-degree tool, if you look in that little Haas mini book that you get handed out, there's all kinds of ways of calculating that, but 90 degree is pretty simple. Whatever diameter you want, let's say 250, you would go half the depth. All right, let's go step by step. All right, goes down. Right now it's the depth we want right there. Let me turn this on translucent so you can see right in there, right? And then we're gonna come up and get to the next hole. Up, over, down, right? Up, over, feed down, wrap it up, wrap it over, feed down, and then go home. All right. Let's see what kind of code this produces here. Okay, I'm running this in Home Learning Edition, so let me save this one. And I'm going to turn on the school one. Actually, let me save as... Okay, I'll have to get it out of the other directory. Here we go. And I have too many running here. Okay, wait till that powers up. So while I'm talking here, I could have some other sheets up here, like my setup sheet and stuff like that. Okay, let me bring this over to my casting screen. It's powered up in the other screen, right here. Here we go. All right, let's find that file. Like if you send it to me, say you did a Mastercam file, I could pull it up in my version and run it, or we can use the school's version. Let's see. This is the full-blown version. I have to look into my users, me, documents. Where'd the Home Learning Edition go? I really wanted to spit the code out. Hold on 1 second.